Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of You Don't Know Sports. I am your host, Slim the Kid, and for those first-time listeners, You Don't Know Sports is your number one comprehensive source for everything sports-related. We cover all genres of sports, including international ones, the Summer Olympics, the Winter Olympics, all North American sports, and those little-known crazy sports that only certain regions or countries like to call their own. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Camp Randall and the University of Wisconsin and its haunted football field. When you're heading to a college football game, the last thing on your mind may be running into ghosts. If you're going to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, that could be what you get. From Civil War soldiers to other tragedies, the area is a hotbed for various specters. Taking in a football game may be more exciting than you realize. The land where Camp Randall Stadium now stands originally hosted the Wisconsin State Fair in 1858. By the time 1861 hit, the government asked soldiers in the northern state to fight for the Union Army during the American Civil War. The Wisconsin governor at the time, Alexander Randall, decided to use these fairgrounds as the training ground for these recruits. This Camp Randall trained over 70,000 Wisconsin troops during the Civil War. During a month in 1862, 1,200 Confederate prisoners of war were also held there, and 140 of them died, and the rest were sent to Camp Douglas in Chicago since the area was deemed unsuitable. The prisoners of war were then buried in Forest Hill Cemetery in a mass grave. The stone centipaph that contained the names of these 140 prisoners was removed and then transferred to storage at the Wisconsin Veterans Museum. The graves were not cared for until hotel manager Alice Waterman moved from Louisiana. She took it upon herself to maintain the plot herself until she died in 1897. She was also buried in a plot alongside those soldiers. While waiting on a grant for a steel and concrete stadium, there were some issues with the existing wooden bleachers used at the original Camp Randall. They collapsed during a game in 1915, and then some of the remaining wooden seats burned down in 1922. In addition to that, an even worse event happened on July 2nd, 1982, in the form of an unsolved murder. There was a student named Donna Mraz who was stabbed to death in front of Camp Randall Stadium. While they originally thought it was connected to a spree of serial killings that had been happening in the area over the past 14 years, it was later ruled out as unrelated. Speaking of the cemetery, Forest Hill Cemetery is considered the city's most haunted cemetery. Not only are there 140 soldiers, but there are as many as 339 unmarked graves and headstones and desecrated Native American holy ground. These things combined make it an ideal place for ghosts to prowl. Some people have complained of headaches when they get near the military burial plots. Although these accounts are unverified, there have been accounts of the soldiers haunting the grounds where they perished, covered in military war uniforms and hospital dressings over their injuries. They seem to prefer the chilly game day mornings in Wisconsin, and tailgaters to Badgers games have claimed to see them at that time wandering around the stadium where they died. There is also a rumor of a lady in white who wanders the cemetery wearing a large hoop dress. What we don't know is who she is or who she is mourning. Camp Randall is a special place. It is the home of the Wisconsin Badgers football team and hosts one of the better traditions in college football. This tradition turns Camp Randall Stadium into an electric bounce house for the jump around sensation that fans and students continue to do until this day. Wisconsin Stadium is also the oldest stadium in the Big Ten, having opened more than a century ago in 1917. It is also well known that several Confederate soldiers, as stated earlier, died from disease and malnutrition while housed at Camp Randall, and these spirits are said to live on throughout the stadium and campus. It was not a happy place to be, Mike Huberty, the founder of American Ghost Walks and hosts of the Other Side podcast, told ESPN. And so that's why at Camp Randall and around the area, people have continued to say they see spirits of Confederate ghosts. He continued his story by saying, quote, "Just a few weeks ago, I was talking to a guy who has lived in Madison a long time and is the head of security at a local factory. He said one of his security officers came up to him and said, 'You're not going to believe it. I saw a Confederate soldier walk through that room. And when I chased after it, there was nobody there.' He couldn't believe it and thought it was crazy because he wasn't familiar with the history or local area. But these are the types of stories you hear." End quote. Even if you don't believe in the paranormal, you've got to admit this entire story is just a bit creepy. Of course, the only way to find out for yourself is to pack a Ouija board and attend a Wisconsin Badgers football game for yourself. This is the end of this latest episode of You Don't Know Sports. Did you know of the haunted history of the University of Wisconsin-Madison's football stadium? Do you think that the football stadium is still haunted by the ghosts of the Confederate dead from over 100 years ago? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to tune in next week for a brand new You Don't Know Sports episode. And be sure to check out our other podcasts, including Big Ten football predictions and Round 2 Wrestling presents Dirty Dirt Sheets.